Greetings from somewhere, and welcome to a deep dive of a movie-making nerd. I apologize that we're still here. I figured 6 chapters, 6 parts, but no, there is a lot of foolishness that we must really analyze under a microscope. I am your host, Dylan. Joining me, as always, Tommy the Spurg Snake. How was your day, Tommy?
So far, so good. I was hanging out over with Bobby Fran a little bit ago, and now I'm here to talk some trash on James Rolfe.
Our buddy Bobby Fran doing his shows regularly Monday through Friday, and I'll be off tomorrow on Thursday. I've got a few job interviews, so hopefully I'll get something a little less annoying than what I currently have. But that's a bit of a happy talk. We usually put that shit at the end, because you folks want to hear about James Rolfe. Oh boy. Oh boy, yeah. These are the good chapters. You can tell folks to pick up right here. Or I guess the last chapter, starting at about page 200, James finally starts talking about something that we want to hear about. Well, actually before that, but he just does a little overview when he's like, all right, we've got Bootsy and we've got Mike, and let's just fast forward to that. He fast forwarded through nothing until we got to the parts that the reader actually would want to hear about, of the trio that we all came to know and love on YouTube. Here's a little bit about that. Now we're at the movie.
Yeah, basically, he skips right over any of the, his origin story involves him more than it does, the people surrounding him, like building him up and showing, like a little bit of Mike was there. I'm going to make you a star. And Bootsy was there. He was the third guy. He was the third wheel on the tricycle. And he's the one who was gaming well. Like, him and Mike are the ones that the video game more than James. And James was just being the character. And they were like, we're going to record this and put this out for you because it's so fucking good.
Were the passion of the other two wheels of the tricycle, not James's. James, he very poorly chose to make this all about his movie making, not about the team. I've been movie making since I was, fucking 4, whatever it was. James versus the punching bag doesn't count as a movie. This is not your 307th movie. This is your first movie, as can be surmised by how much you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
And he kind of gets to that point. Like, he's like, I'm really feel like I'm making a movie. It's like, yeah, James, because you are actually making a movie. You hired a crew. You got actual equipment. You rented these things in the wrong, worst possible way. He did all those things.
Like, I'm fascinated, and I have a lot of input here because my pilot that never was, I was doing a lot of footwork before the 2020 happened, and I was like, well, the time was great. Now it's not. So we'll get into that. But first, I have 2 sound drops that I was just like, this doesn't fit anywhere, but I want them. First, James describes his book physically.
Bird shit, inches thick.
Bird shit, inches thick. And it has now calcified into this physical book that, well, we don't have the physical book, but we're going over the audio book and the PDF file.
I had forgotten.
I had forgotten.
Yes,
he had forgotten about T's, apparently, in that one.
Every double T, forgotten, mountain, continuity. Like, he just rolls his T's into D's, and I find that really strange. I guess that's a Pennsylvania thing. I don't know.
Well, I've
never heard anybody else that hard with it, like that I'm picking it up.
I grew up right underneath of Pennsylvania in Maryland, and I guess they didn't speak this way in Hanover, Pennsylvania. I'll tell you that for sure. It kind of spoke kind of like Maryland. I guess I just want to give everything that Balmer Maryland accent, because it's like Australian without any of the sexy horn. Come on, let's go and see an O's game. So unfortunate that the Orioles, they say the O's, because that's how they pronounce their O's there in Balmer. Last week I did accidentally miss the final clip that I had of James terrorizing his 2 cats by taking them across country. So one final clip that I had for that before we get into chapter 5D.
They eventually got used to it and
The cats eventually got used to the car.
seemed to enjoy watching the scenery go by. But when the trip started, they whined nonstop. It gave me a sinking feeling that this trip was a bad idea.
You are correct, sir. Yes.
I am going with the extreme version of a Baltimore accent. That is someone like the most twangiest Southern accent you can think of. Like, some people speak like this, but it's a certain amount. American Cupcake has not gotten to experience the Baltimoreiest of the Baltimore folk, because they really do sound funny as motherfucking shit. You can hear it. Tommy Sambazo, if you're there, go listen to him. He might still have his bit of speaking Spanish in a Baltimore accent. That is some good shit. Unlike chapter 5D, this is not. Actually, now I'm doing my effeminate North Carolinian there.
I think that's where I always end up.
It's easier to do the effeminate North Carolinian.
Chapter 5D, Arriving in L.A.
Okay, so Dateline, January 2012, Bames and Beeprel arrive in Los Angeles. They are beginning to pay for this apartment in Hollywood in January. So I started keeping track of some of the pissing away of money. You didn't need to go to Los Angeles in January when filming didn't start till, I believe, April. So,
wow.
Pissing away money there. I understand you wanted feet on the ground, but if you would have shot in Philadelphia, your feet would have been on the ground the entire time. Let's see. James. Going back to my notes. Going to D1. No fooling.
And we started talking business immediately. Before I even had a chance to put my stuff down, there was no time to waste. Our target date to begin shooting was April 1st. No fool.
Yep. There you go. James's arch enemy, time, which is legit. That it is your worst enemy when you are shooting a movie, and it shouldn't be a punchline. But James, you turned it into a punchline for all us looking at you.
And shooting was April 1st. No fooling.
I know what you did. You're a
I stepped all over that hilarious joke. So he's there in January, February, March, 3 months of absolutely wasted rent on a Hollywood apartment. So April 1st, they are getting
shooting. Shooting was April 1st. No fooling.
Remember? I know what you did. You're a damn terrorist. All right, just get the hell out of here. Huh? I got a goddamn campaign. The one thing you do care about.
We had only 3 months to hire our cast and crew, build our special effects and costumes, find locations, etc. I had no idea how we were going to pull it all off. I really did.
That's my first note, is that logistics and expenses are very new to Bims. Like, he had no idea. I really think he thought he was going to walk into this pro material, and now he's in basically the big boys club. And
yeah, he has a happy-go-lucky attitude, like everything's just going to go his way, which no, it's not. I do not like PG James's jokes. April 1st, no fooling.
Yeah.
We all became fans, or a good many of us watching this became fans of the vulgar humor, which is just completely absent in this book. Jonathan Boaz, the more you dig, the more you find out every single decision was wrong. I came into this book knowing every single decision he made about this movie was wrong, and there is more that was done wrong. I love it. I need to get the director commentary over his movie now to figure what other little cracks of shit that you did wrong. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, and like you said, step one, he went to California 3 months early and wasted probably $4,000 to $5,000 on rent for those 3 months.
Before he went to Los Angeles, a preliminary shooting schedule should have been made up. and then you go out there maybe 1 month beforehand. You spend that rent on that and have feet on the ground. There were 2 extra months where he just got to be Hollywood Hills James. Well, hiking up the Hollywood Hills. His apartment is in the worst fucking part of Los Angeles you could possibly be in. And we'll get to that soon. What else is in my notes here? Just talking about my pilot I had a preliminary shooting schedule without paying a single person before I started reaching out or paying anyone. I had the prices for all of the locations. I was getting friends and family on one of them. My producer, who was also getting paid nothing except on the back end, was procuring a food truck for us for free. So there was just a whole bunch of financials that I'm hearing this. I'm like, motherfucker, especially because this script, we established last time, he's got $250,000 and he's trying to make a $250 million movie with that. We're trying to prove that big blockbusters can be done. That is, I believe I did the math, 0.1%, not even 1% of a big blockbuster budget. He has got 0.1% of that to, we're just going to do it. We're going to show you can do it.
Yeah, especially, yeah, no, he's not. And later on, he does talk about casting, but that's, if you're making a blockbuster, you need a name that's going to draw people in to come watch your movie. That's why people get. He was actually putting himself
as the name. Yeah, a big name would actually help him fund this movie if he was able to get a big named actor. I've said this about Stuttering John's movie as well, that they had $500,000 to work with. If they would have gotten Dietrich Bader, who I think would have been perfect, they easily could have gotten $1.5 million for that.
Yeah,
one named actor. But yeah, no named actor, and no, Jeremy Suarez doesn't count. As much as I enjoy his little wiener kid role on Bernie Mac, he's not a name. He was just a recognizable face.
Right, exactly that. He was the kid from Bernie Mac. That's all he had as credits. And I wonder if he was like legitimate a fan of the nerd beforehand. And so he's like, all right, yeah, I've heard of you, I'll do it. Or did his agent say...
That's how we got some people. The most established special effects person came on because he was a fan, and then he Alan Smithied himself right off of IMDb.
He does tell that story about walking up to the Hollywood Hills sign right here in chapter D1. He left. Wait, real quick. The one part that stuck out, like he tells how he gets up there and he's looking over the city, and then there's like some ADR line. April went with me the second time. And then it goes back to him being like telling the more heartfelt story about how he looked over the city, and he really thought he knew his future. He had it in his mind. It's going this way, and sadly, or not really sadly, unfortunately, It does not, and it provides the wrong kind of entertainment for us.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering if him and Mike could have put together a better script, because it's been him and Kevin Finn this whole time, back and forth. James and Mike are made a great team, and possibly they could have made the movie work. I think going over and making Kevin Finn his guy for the movie, the tone was just completely off. I don't think either one of them knew what the fuck they were talking about with video games. There's a certain knowledge of video games that they needed Mike Matei to go and revise this script and polish it up so it's not like the base level of video game knowledge.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't watched the movie, but I agree. Like, there's definitely. Oh, sorry.
One thing I absolutely agree with, James should not have been directing. Kevin, he needed someone who had been to the dance before. He wanted this to help elevate him up to a filmmaker, but he needed someone who had been there before, a director who... That's what I was looking at, too. A director of photography who knew what the fuck he was doing, a head cameraman who could hold my hand, and he had no one to hold his hand. Just me and Kevin have been doing this since we were kids. we know what's going on here. And I didn't write how to set up this clip for D2, so let's just jump right into it.
We talked about location costs, permits, union costs, insurance, lawyers, special effects, generators for electricity.
Barbecue it, boil it, broil it, bake it, saute it. There's shrimp kebabs, shrimp creole. There's pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp, shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich.
Food, catering, portable bathrooms, camera gear, lighting and equipment rentals, prop rentals, transportation costs, vehicle rentals. We talked about this, we talked about that, a bunch of question marks, and we just prayed it would all come together.
Well, you can wish in one hand and crap in the other, and see which gets filled first.
Classic.
You didn't need to tell us every single little detail of what you talked about. Reading between the lines of this book is so much fun, of the things that he was just unprepared for. He was just unprepared for a large amount of this stuff that he listed off.
It's shocking how unprepared, because, like, leading up to this, even if you take the book at face value, he's made 300 films up until this is like film 393.
Oh, I was off.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
in the description, I called it 307.
I don't have no idea. I lost count. Yeah, 307.
but yeah, we both know that by James's admission, or James's account rather, this is film number 300 and something. When it's almost as if the 306 films before this weren't actually films, weren't actually movies. And if you just would have framed it that way in your book, this book, I think that James was trying to win back some of his haters, which is what got us that sound drop from last time.
Yeah.
And he's going about it all wrong for us to just roll our eyes again and say, oh, fucking idiot, James, still missing the point.
Yeah, yes. He's missing the point on a lot of things, definitely.
But just so much of this should have been done in pre-production, before a cent was being spent on a Hollywood apartment. But just didn't think of it that way. Thought, oh, we got the money. Let's go there now.
Yeah,
and let's talk about that apartment. Anything to add before we get to the apartment?
No, go for it.
After I unpacked my computer, I realized how quickly those Macs can heat up a room. There was no central air in the building. We had only one AC window unit that rattled louder than a chainsaw and didn't cool at all. The apartment baked like an oven, and the internet barely worked.
Oh, bitch.
I guess April isn't the master planner that James portrayed her as last time with this piece of shit fucking apartment, because she is just the master planner. She got this figured out, and everything fucking sucks.
Yeah, no, he does complain a lot. There is a lot of complaining that comes from him, and it does seem like that, because he does mention how much April helps him. She's constantly running errands and doing stuff. So she's out doing things, and he's just like, this isn't working right. Nothing's coming together correctly. And I don't know how hands-on he is, or how quick he is to move. If his actions are anything like his speech pattern, it's, he is Grandpa Simpson.
April Beepril, if you will, she is credited as a production coordinator, but judging by how much fucking shit she did, I feel like she deserved at least an associate producer credit. She was doing like as much as these other guys based on the way James is retelling this. And the story of the book, Brush of Chaos, is him trying to establish his credibility and completely missing. It just totally whiffing, making himself sound like a filmmaker. He makes himself sound like a fucking wiener kid who turned into a wiener adult.
It's that's succinct. He is a bit
As a former wiener kid, I feel like I have authority on this, of being able to judge Nope, you never grew out of the wiener kidness. You're a wiener adult now.
I think the most wienerest thing I ever did as a kid was actually remind the teacher accidentally about homework.
Oh, you cocksucker.
Well, here's the thing. It was like and I remember it was a Friday, and I was like, oh, cool, no homework? And the teacher was like, oh, yeah. And everybody was like, I felt 28 pairs of eyes looking right at me from that. And I was like, oh, what a dummy. I was just excited that there was no homework, And so I said something. The teacher was like, nope, here you go. Math. Thanks, you fucking idiot.
Well, since you said that, thank you. And here you all go. You punished the entire class by being a goody-goody. You son of a gun.
Yeah. So yeah, I do have some idea of being a wiener kid.
This next clip I have, the setup in my notes, James portrays himself as completely incapable of problem solving.
The apartment baked like an oven, and the internet barely worked. Imagine trying to organize a feature film when you can rarely check your email.
All it takes is saying yes. Starbucks morning yes.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's hard to use your email from your shitty apartment, but Starbucks in 2013 had free Wi-Fi with your coffee. There was one, I guarantee you, within a half a mile of where your apartment was. And that just made me laugh a lot. There was no Wi-Fi. I was so fucked. What if you go a half mile that way? Oh,
that's, yeah, that's it. No, he just obstinate. Like this isn't working right. And he doesn't think to better the situation. Like he doesn't get out of the comfort zone. Like he doesn't want to leave his house. So he'll deal with the shitty internet instead of doing, what most normal people would do is go waste the coffee house's internet first. You know what I mean?
I thought of something else at this point in the book. And why did April and the two cats need to come out to Los Angeles? Why couldn't James have come out solo and had stayed on the couch of Kevin Finn and paid $0 in rent for the months that he was out there? It seems like a cost-cutting measure that could have worked. I don't know. That's me looking to cut costs. And the no response is absolutely right.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's what a moop. I wrote that down because I agree with you. He's just like doing, and again, like with the Wi-Fi, just doesn't think ahead or, like you said, have an itinerary, have production costs at least written down in some generic sense.
Yeah, they're putting them all down right now. And we'll get to the scouting. That's coming up, I believe, in chapter 5E, the location scouting. There's a bunch of fun in that. So here we get an idea of where he's at in this apartment in relative to the rest of the city.
We were downtown, right near the...
Oh.
Okay, and I must also point out, we were downtown Hollywood. They were downtown Hollywood, the shittiest part of Hollywood, one of the shittiest parts of all of Los Angeles. Downtown Los Angeles isn't as much of a shithole. The very first time that me and my buddies drove down Hollywood Boulevard, we saw a homeless man shitting. That's James is feet away from homeless people shitting in the street. When I went to downtown Los Angeles, it took me a good half a dozen times before I saw a homeless person shitting in the street. So that's the part of the difference between downtown Los Angeles and downtown Hollywood, where James is staying.
We were downtown, right near the most touristy street in L.A., not far from Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Boy.
He is near Hollywood and Highland, one of the most busiest intersections in Hollywood. Therefore, one of the most busiest intersections in the fucking world. And he's plopped down right next to that. Did James mention his odd parking spot? Maybe I didn't pull that one. I guess I didn't.
He had to turn the car sideways to park his car.
Yeah, maybe I didn't pull that. It was just something extra that he was bitching about. That I'm like, why is this in your book?
Again, yeah, it was just like an offhand 2 or 3 line comment shoved in between 2 paragraphs. And I also made the note, as per cat behavior. I'm not sure why I wrote that down, because I didn't start back at D. I skipped that part and was, like somebody else mentioned in the chat, listening at 1.5, because I went all the way up to F 2 weeks ago, last show. And so that way I had a little bit less homework to do this week. I'm trying to take it a little slow, because by the time I got to 5F last show, I was done. Like, there was just so much, I couldn't take it anymore. Because he is financially fucking up. Yeah.
Once I get a little bit at a time, 20 clips, that's enough.
So we're moving into the next subchapter E. Is that where we're headed?
I've got one more on D5. Is the clip traffic?
The street was always crowded with people. There was always some red carpet event, and traffic was blocked. These minor inconveniences, I knew, were only warm-ups for the real stress of making the film.
So James, I feel like, is getting stressed out over traffic here. And he has got a whole lot more on his plate coming up than LA traffic. I'm not even going to get into it. I was going to go down a whole rabbit hole of this traffic and how James is too much of a fragile boy to go down Laurel Canyon or Coldwater Canyon over the Hollywood Hills. But fuck it. I just don't believe James has it in him to deal with Los Angeles traffic, let alone a major motion picture or middling motion picture.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, and I'm glad that I'm here with you, because you do have that insight of what LA's like. Even my, Midwest in the stick self knows both New York and LA, I would rather ride a bike. Just based on what other people say, I would probably be able to get from point A to point B much quicker on a 10-speed than trying to take the 1, or something like along those lines. I know I'm not saying it right. You know better,
you're depending on where you are, you're going to take the 5 or the 405 for your north and south way. Me, I was a Burbank guy, so I would always get on the 5. But James, he's like right in the middle, so you don't have these major highways that.
Get back on San Vicente, take it to the 10, then switch over to the 405 north and let it dump you out into Mulholland where you belong.
In Mulholland.
Sure. At this time of day, it's gonna be jammed. Are you crazy?
Just get on the 10 and get out of here.
That really makes me giggle, because that is what we're all like. It's part of your everyday shenanigans of trying to get it. Like, if I got off of work at 5 p.m., I'm staying fucking put.
Yeah,
and that's
no
all
kidding.
I have for that's all I have for D. On to subchapter E.
Chapter 5E, location scouting. One of our first steps was...
Oh, actually, I have the first clip built into this one, and anytime there are mouth noises, I did turn it way the fuck up. Anything you would like to get to before I just barreled right into the first clip there?
No, it's financial fuck-ups 4077. Like, he's just continuing to screw up financially, and location scouting did not help him at all.
And we get... straight out of the box, he said something very quotable. So, and let's listen for that mouth noise after chapter 3E.
5E, location scouting. One of our first steps was finding the locations. Our script was difficult because almost every scene was in a different place.
What are you, fucking stupid? Huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Usually with independent films, you want to reuse the same places as much as possible. Yeah. But ours was literally all over the place.
James Gandolfini said it best for me. What are you, fucking stupid? Your independent film that has less than $1 million, you have to rent out a place for this day. You got to rent out a place for that day. You could get a better rate if you rent a place out for 2 weeks. God damn it. It's like ordering in bulk.
He's getting into the big boy playground, and my first note is, this is where I become unsympathetic. Like, I'm starting to like, all right, dude, you're just trying to do this because, like, he's hitting beats, you know, like, this is what a filmmaker does.
He's
and
playing
now
filmmaker.
he's out location.
He's not being filmmaker. That's how I felt even before diving into this. This Hollywood stuff is playing filmmaker, not being. So all these locations are fucking expensive. You know where I bet he could have gotten a decent price on renting places? Philadelphia.
Yep.
I bet
Cleveland.
that.
If you want to do it out of your city.
James is a Philadelphia fellow. There is a film community in New York, but as we established last time, the weather bad. We must film this in a desert because that's how it is in real life. I was so frustrated last episode when I was talking about if you must go to the desert. Wait a minute. You don't need to go to the fucking desert, right? That it's in the middle of the goddamn woods. But it's not that way in real life. Shut up, James. It's a goddamn movie. Like every detail of Queen of the Ring wasn't accurate. And I saw that this past week. I was actually a bit disappointed in Queen of the Ring. But you need to make concessions for your narrative rather than it's out in the desert.
Try to
we know that much.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think he was trying to get that. I don't know for sure because, like, again, I haven't really watched the movie. But I know there was those rocks. I forget the name of them. But they're in like Star Trek. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Vasquez
I knew it started with a V.
There's a few things in going over the shooting schedule that he still has available on the Cinemassacre website. He's like all excited that he's using the same stages that J.J. Abrams used months before. And it's like, motherfucker, go to the stages in Chatsworth. That's where very cheap rental can be done. The stages in Chatsworth are just as good as the stages that J.J. fucking Abrams used.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He just went from saying independent film after trying to tell it. That's the nutshell right there. He's in love with the concept of it. You know, he's going to do a big budget Hollywood film on an independent filmmaker's budget. Well, which is it? Is it an independent film or is it a big budget film? You got two. You're trying to smoke and mirrors your way into a big budget, and he's not doing it right. You know,
yeah, he's like, trying to do everything. He wrote in zombies. He wrote in every single B movie trope. Each of those B movies had a trope because that's all they could afford. They couldn't afford zombies and lasers. They were able to afford zombies or lasers, not every single thing. And Sam Bibley, yes, I did find this movie on the Internet Archive for those who don't want to pay James $1.50 for a rental of that movie. Thank you, Internet Archive. And you definitely need a buddy. It's painful. This is a painful experience to get through on your own. With a buddy, you can go all Crow T Robot and Tom Servo on it, and it's a blast.
He's not trying to be Tommy Wiseau Cupcake. It's beyond that, I would say.
If he was trying to be, actually, we would have more respect for him if he was trying to be Tommy Wiseau, because Tommy Wiseau, when he realized, well, let's just accept that it's fucking awful, and people are coming out because it's fucking awful. James just won't talk about it. He will not talk about his failures. If you put it in his video game, James will say, on re-release, could you fucking take it all out so we can pretend like this never happened?
There's a whole bunch of stuff. I posted in the Discord, Dylan from somewhere, Discord. He had scrubbed a lot of videos from his Cinemassacre channel and from anything that was too personal. And somebody archived it all. And some of those videos, there's a lot of moments there that you know that this is how it would have turned out. Because
we're gonna have to have
over the top in his own mind. Yeah. Sorry.
We're going to have a Rumble watch along soon. I've been dragging my feet on getting a Rumble channel. I was watching Return of the Jedi over on Bobby Nick's channel with 2Ks and others this past Sunday. I've got to do a Rumble watch along party. First day with those independent films, Jimmy versus the fucking boxing bag, and then a whole night. Maybe we'll do a double feature with. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Coming soon to Rumble. We're gonna watch along to James' sports shit.
I a few weeks ago we were talking about how he got to meet Ozzy Osbourne, and he had a VHS tape that he had edited that he wanted to give Ozzy. On that
I haven't checked
VHS
that one out yet.
I am 100% sure that he cut a video to a Black Sabbath song.
He did mention that, and he brought it to Ozzy like a fucking child. Mr. Osborne, I make a music video for you, and of course he didn't even give it to Ozzy. The security was like, "What the fuck is this? Throw it in the trash."
Yeah, right. They made him throw it away. He was upset.
You can't meet fucking Ozzy and give him shit to do. You're giving Ozzy a homework assignment. No, get out of here, kid. So
yeah,
James,
he's not got a time for you.
James is doing some location scouting, and well, let's just hear how he thought he would have an all right time.
Every day for weeks, we would drive around a 30-mile radius of LA, stopping at various places, most of which either didn't look right, had some logistical problem, or were too expensive. Being a low-budget film, I thought we can get lower rates.
You stupid.
What is were they gonna like budget him on a scale? I was like, well, I got $300 for my movie. Can you do it for 30?
Apparently, that's what he thought is how it works in LA. That's apparently what he thought. Like, oh, there is a Universal Studios budget, and then there is a Blumhouse budget, and then there's a guy off the street budget. No, they're not going to shut their shit down for anything less than what they're accustomed to. My buddy, he let the Fosters film at his place, not a burger stand. They were there a few times and mentioned it by name on the Fosters TV show. They were actually astounded. He quoted them a price that was incredibly reasonable. And they came back again and again because, like, this fool, he's giving away his location compared to these, because that's what most locations do. You're going to have a hard time finding a manager like that who's like, this is what I make for the day. Just give me a couple bucks more than that. Really? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. And later in this chapter, we'll hear about how about what it is like shooting in some of these LA Hollywood locations.
I don't know if I got that far. It's starting to all blend together.
Yeah, no, it's towards the end. I think it's in the H where he's talking about.
Oh, I put it in H. Oh, motherfucker. I meant to pull that Simpsons clip too. Put it in H.
So yeah, one of the notes I made, because he is driving around 30 miles radius with his GPS, and it kept taking him to like wrong spots because GPS wasn't, I mean, it was much better than it had been, but I think they were still using postal locations. So if you put in a direct address, it'll take you to the mailbox, not exactly the location sometimes.
Okay, yeah, there were some. I bet that's what happened. I don't think I pulled any clips of him saying that, but let's get into the next one. See if I did pull any of those. E1. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, there's the one I missed.
Go for it.
Yeah, I almost fucking missed this one. James mispronouncing things.
One of the first places we found was an abandoned air traffic control tower to serve as the exterior of Area 51. It just so happened a wild dog lived there and chased Kevin out. He was the only one to see it, claiming it was a Chupacabra. Chupacabra.
There is an artist and AI collaboration for what a Chupacabra might look like as they were scouting one of the locations. And unfortunately, as we've been establishing, Hollywood is expensive.
But in LA, finding something affordable was very difficult. Yeah.
I wondered why I wrote down Chupa Chup. Thank you. I'm glad that you caught that as well. Because a Koopa Chabra.
Yeah, when I was going over all my clips after I pulled them, I was like, where the fuck is Chupacabra? I need that Chupacabra. And James is I put over there with L.A. Knight. He is a wrestler whose catchphrase is yeah. So that's why I chose James's.
Sarcastic.
You got to pay taxes. Yeah, like that. That is such a perfect embodiment of James misunderstanding. Just period. James misunderstanding.
Life. Yeah.
that was just so condescending and looking down his nose at people who were critiquing him when motherfucker, you're turning us more. You're double turning us against you. And that double turn doesn't bring you back around to a good guy, unfortunately.
Front-facing eel.
I found it fascinating. Him talking about a usable warehouse in this looking for location. Excuse me, where's my water?
Eventually, we found a usable studio. It didn't have a green screen, but they were building a makeshift one with fabric. The bathrooms didn't all work. One of the toilets had spiders crawling out of it. Another had an inch of water on the floor at all times. The ceiling leaked, putting our equipment in jeopardy. There were railroad tracks nearby, so recording sound was a gamble.
That was the usable warehouse. The one with shit and spiders coming out of one of the two toilets. Who the fuck builds a studio, a warehouse? Oh, that's right. It's a warehouse. This isn't a soundstage. That's why, warehouses can be built next to railroad tracks, no problem. A soundstage next to railroad tracks kind of defeats the purpose of your soundstage.
I think somebody rented James an abandoned building, not a soundstage, not a studio place to do work. I think it was a closed down Hugo Boss or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it was.
Yeah, I started saying that this was a soundstage, but yeah, he uses warehouse. This is just a big open building that's half dilapidated that they can still rent out to foolish people like James.
Yep. I got a bridge to sell this guy.
Ooh, is it in Brooklyn? I've heard about this bridge from others.
That I do. That one's a little pricey. If you're not interested in Brooklyn, I also have one in San Francisco. That's really nice.
Yeah, that San Francisco bridge. I bet that gets even more foot traffic than the one in Brooklyn. Foot traffic. Traffic.
Sorry, we thought it was a bad.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good.
I don't know why I laughed so hard at that.
I didn't set that one up at all.
Sorry, we thought it was abandoned. They got in their vehicle and they drove away.
Oh, okay. This is finding bums on one of the scouts. And the owner of the property, she didn't like the bums trying to find copper in her trash heaps at all.
But she still wasn't satisfied. She told us, hold on tight, and sped after them. There was no road. We were going over rocks, bumping all around. I don't know what she intended. Did she plan to ram their vehicle over, drag them out, and beat the shit out of them? We'll never know, because they got away. And after that, she went back to casually talking business with us. But I couldn't forget, we were just in a real car chase, just like the scene in our movie. And on the same location.
No.
And you didn't film it.
No, you weren't in a car chase. You had the owner of a property running someone off. It's a fast.
Squatters,
she's going fast. I don't know. That just bugged me that we were in a car chase. She was running them off, not chasing them down. They were scared, and they ran away.
Yeah, Bimmy's a scaredy beam. But they go to that boiler room as well, where they're like trying to find a boiler room, and one of the janitors was being an asshole, and then Tattoo Man walks out. He's like, James describing this guy covered in tattoos from the top of his head to the tips of his fingers. And he had blood in his mouth or something, like he had just pulled a tooth. And then James says, he's like, oh, I was going to run away. I was so scared. Was this guy going to kick my ass? It's like he had never seen anybody outside of Philadelphia before. Not even like inner city Philadelphians.
Through Philadelphia, that's what I mean as well.
That's what I mean. Like he's very suburban, I think. And when he went to college, that was his like inner city experience instead of like he was living on campus instead of having a shitty apartment like this in
like he has
South Central
right now
Hollywood.
in the book. He's got the shittiest
Right.
apartment he ever had is right here in Hollywood that had awful air conditioning, overheated, no Wi-Fi. But it's a good thing that April found it. That went on for a while. His story of trying to find a boiler room. I didn't pull any of that, but that went on for, it seemed like for fucking ever. It might have just been a half a page.
Well, it was him and Kevin hanging out in the dark forever. So, he was definitely, he had notes
Finally
for
got
that.
his chance to 7 minutes in heaven with Kevin, and he didn't. Ooh, 7 minutes in Kevin. You don't even need the 7 minutes in heaven. Just get into the 7 minutes. No, I don't see it that way. I think Kevin would be topping. I see James receiving. I don't see him giving. Like he would know the role.
Yeah, I suppose. That one's a little... Now I'm thinking about shit I shouldn't be thinking about. God damn you.
Let's try to get that image out of your and everyone else's minds. I apologize. Think of Kevin in the Glitch Gremlin outfit. It'll get you laughing more rather than dry heaving. Anything before we go on to chapter F, 5F?
Okay, yeah, and E broke Bims can't catch a break. Yeah, he's broke already, and he can't find anywhere to affordable to scout except like rundown factories. Like you mentioned, trains be loud because he's right next to train tracks. Something about LA zone, like there's zones in LA that you're not allowed to.
Yeah,
do
the 30-mile
certain
zone.
things.
He didn't explain the first time, and the second time he did explain the 30-mile zone. Which you can look it up. It's what TMZ is named after.
Okay. And he also mentions again his favorite film, A Mad World. I don't know why he mentioned it. He just mentions it again.
And I am a fan of Mad World. The end of Mad World, when they had the claymation, it's very funny, but they didn't have any other technology at the time to do the special effects other than claymation at the end of Mad World. And now
and
on
that's it for
to
me.
chapter 5F.
Chapter 5F, hiring.
Jonathan Boaz, asking how much money did they have left before filming actually began. Last time we figured out that of the $350 raised, it was probably around $200,000 to $250,000 that he had. And then you take into account the apartment for him in April. I imagine it's not going to be less than $1,500 a month. So 3,000, 6,000, a good $6,000 gone at least through just, well, let's go there now. And to me, in my pilot, I was able to get it down on paper of spending $15,000 for a week. You're employing a whole crew of people. You're paying for stuff. It goes fucking quick. And even then, I knew that number was probably bullshit. It was probably going to be closer to 30,000 than 15,000. So yeah, just imagine $20,000 or more per week. Like that's low. 20,000 or less per week to be spending on your film. So that's where we're at. And did I play the F?
Chapter 5F, hiring.
AKA tiring. This is where I started really getting, because like I said, I took a big chunk of this chapter to the head last time we were covering it, and too much Bims can make you go crazy.
That's why we've been taking this pretty damn slow. This is something we could have done this every single week, but I've part of the reason to do it every other week is to keep my sanity. I couldn't have completed doing this every single week. I still want to throw in the towel kind of fucking now, but we're only like 2 or 3 more episodes. I'd like it to be 1 or 2, probably 2 or 3 more episodes, judging on where we're at and all the stupid shit. Fuck, maybe the last chapter we will do 2 episodes on. I don't want it to be that stupid, that last chapter.
I know, but you know he is. It's going to be the most current, too. He talks about Rex Viper in this book, which has nothing to do with anything.
If he would have admitted that he killed his passion for movie making, then Rex Viper makes sense as a rebirth of his creativity, which I guess it kind of was. He's passionate about it. It didn't seem like he was passionate about the nerd, but Rex Viper, he seems passionate about it. He's into it.
But again, I think I think it was Jonathan that mentioned it earlier. He likes the concept of being a rock star, not actually having to put the work in to play guitar well.
I've got a family member just like that. That was posting on social media all about his favorite band, and I'm like, oh, cool, he's getting back into a band. It's been a while since he's done that, and then when I go to visit, he's a groupie for the band. So that he wants to do all the fun stuff. He wants to go to the shows and have a great time. He wants to drink beers at practice, but he doesn't want to practice at practice. So yeah, let me bring the beers at practice. Let me hang out. I'll be your number one groupie.
No.
The way you just phrased that reminded me of that story. As we get into James looking for some actors.
Every actor in LA is part of the union.
Who told you that?
So
every actor is not part of the union. Every named actor is part of the union. John Voight, you could get. John Voight is Phi Corps. He can work both union and non-union projects, but that's very rare. So this didn't need to be a union project if you weren't going to have a named celebrity in there. As we mentioned earlier, that might have been able to get you a bigger budget to get a celebrity in there. But without a name that's going to attract an outside audience, you didn't need to be union whatsoever. No. And continuing with the clip.
So we did it all by the book, working through SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and playing by all the rules. We approached a casting agent to connect us with actors, but the guy thought our script was too ambitious and told us flat out it was impossible to pull off with our budget.
That man is your friend, James. That man is talking sense. You brought a paycheck to that man. He said, no, look, I'm looking out for you. Don't do this. You can't do this. Knock it off. But luckily he was able to find some shysters who were either like, yeah, you've got money to give me, or were just ignorant to the fact that anyone with eyes reading this script can say, oh, this is completely undoable. Let's go to the next clip. You're leaving me speechless. Oh, you got something before the next clip?
Well, no, that guy tells him flat out, no, you can't, this is impossible, dude. You're trying to make, like what you said, a $300 million movie on a $300,000 budget, and Bimmy no likey that. He's like, I don't want to hear naysayers. And so I'm guessing you're going to the next, where he meets somebody who tells him, okay. And it's exactly like you, I agree with you. Like, oh, you got money to spend? Sure, we'll do what you want.
It's either that, or they were just not putting themselves, because some casting agents will be very passionate about the project and work with you. And, like any industry, you'll find some people who just want to get paid. And when they see, oh, that's not enough money to complete this. No. That also could be a concern by the first person casting agent he went to, of like, am I going to get paid? You don't have enough money for this. I might not get paid. Pass. But yes, he does keep asking until some casting agent will do it.
So we found another agent named Lindsay who was fantastic. We had a great experience working with her. She got us access to headshots and resumes. She set us up with a bunch of auditions, so I got to test out certain scenes acting alongside other actors.
So is it kind of sexist that Bames is very flippant of some girl named Lindsay that helped him. Like, he drops full names of people throughout this book. There's some people who helped him with casting before he left Philadelphia that he mentions first and last name. Why not Lindsay? What's wrong with Lindsay? Did she double cross her? In which case, why did you talk her up so much? Of this girl Lindsay. For some reason, that really jumped out at me. Somebody named Lindsay really saved our ass and started casting this movie.
Right, and this is the shout out chapter. He rambles probably 10 or 15 names, front to back. Bear Mac doxed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he pretty much is doing that to everybody. It's first full name and last name, but I think he also might be thinking that if anybody else hears this, I can reference those people. Like, he would hire most of them again, and I think he's trying to get them work.
And he talked about the great actors that he got to work with. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he can work with Sarah Glendenning or Jeremy Suarez ever again. If you go to their IMDb, they each have one credit after this movie and nothing again. So this movie killed 2 acting careers at least.
1 movie, 2 careers, huh? That's
I am overstating that.
I don't know. Did she stay Hollywood? Is that what? I thought she might have quit after the AVGN movie altogether.
You're talking about the leading actress?
Yeah, the one that looks like Aaron plays.
Yeah, that's Sarah Glendenning, who he drops the full name of.
Okay.
She has a single credit after the AVGN movie. So maybe this didn't have anything to do with sinking her career. I am choosing to believe it did.
I agree with you. It most likely was a, like you said, it's a tarnish on the resume.
And that's why our buddy, I believe his name is David Woodruff, the special effects guy, went on IMDb and created a page just for Davis Woodruff, whose one credit is this movie. He hasn't been, he's only been wildly embarrassed by one project to go on IMDb and be like, this can't be along with my other stuff. Davis did this. Not David. Davis did.
It's great.
I must also mention...
Whoops, sorry.
Yep, go ahead. No, go ahead. Play.
I must also mention, before pre-production even started, we had some preliminary casting calls done by friends all around the country. I'll never forget that. Casting the minor roles had a ton of help from April, Mary Scholes, and Matt Manahan. I appreciated everyone who helped.
Okay, so that just goes along in my rant of what's wrong with Lindsay? Why isn't Lindsay getting a full name drop? Why didn't you do more of this work in Philadelphia before you started pissing away more of your money?
Yeah.
Clip
he shot moon scenes. Was this? Did he not do?
I've got one more clip from Chapter F. Maybe that's in there. If not,
you
can get to it before going to the Chapter G. This clip I entitled Clueless Producers.
But at the time, none of us had any idea how much post-production work there would be.
We know. I really wanted I couldn't find the Jim Norton sound drop screaming, "We know." So yeah, that is the last from 5. I'm on to Chapter 5G. Oh, holy shit! We still have a few clips. God damn.
Yeah, that should move a little quicker, but yeah, this is 5G is where he's just spinning the wheels and not getting anywhere. The title.
Right into it.
Chapter 5G, Racing to the Start Line.
I fucking hate PG wordplay, James. Just like earlier, dropping into high school. I don't like it. I don't like it on you. You use some more fuck shits and goddams in your wordplay. I might like it.
It's a shit full of fuck.
Okay, this subchapter, my jaw was fucking dropping. This is where it was new information to me of how fucking unprepared they were, and I didn't think they could get less prepared. There was more unpreparedness.
For the past year, a dominant topic of conversation that wasted countless hours was how to get the rights to use the ET game. I would have thought it would be fair use, the same as any old Atari game that I'd review on the AVGN show.
They did not secure the rights to the linchpin MacGuffin of the movie.
No, James learns what rights actually are and how they operate for the first time right here. Like, he had been doing the nerd stuff, and like he mentions, it was more transformative as a critique. Now he's trying to work it into the movie, but still call it a critique. And
fucking
not have
happy-go-lucky James here is just completely ignorant to the legalities of movie rights to rebroadcast something, and is just, it'll be the same as YouTube. It's a review, just like all my other reviews. It's a review within a movie, and you didn't secure the rights. Everything is fucked up because you tried to build it around the ET game, and you can't use the ET game.
You hold on, I gotta call you on something. You said it wrong. You said review. It's review. He stretches the re part out a lot in the review. He never says review, like like he never says it that way.
Review.
Like there's a hyphen in there, like it's review.
I'll have to pay attention to that. I didn't pick up on that foible of James's. So this made me laugh out loud where I was when I learned, what did James need to do to get the rights?
Apparently, back then, whenever they made a game based on a movie, the rights would go back to the movie studio. So we reached out to the studio, and they gave us back a one-sentence reply. We don't think Mr. Spielberg would be interested. For a crappy old Atari game, we had to get in touch with Spielberg? We weren't even talking about the movie, just the game.
Stop being a bitch and come on.
I forgot that I added a sound drop, but I was just so frustrated. Once he starts getting into little whiny wiener kid James and want to fucking throttle him. Yes, you have painted yourself into a corner where you need the permission of Steven fucking Spielberg to make this a go movie. Holy shit.
Yeah. Spielberg says no. Of course, it wasn't him. I'm sure it didn't even get anywhere near Spielberg.
Yes, Spielberg's team was like, we do not bother him with horseshit like this. We bother him when it's something that matters. This is something that we don't even need to ask him about here at Amblin Entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, good. I was right. It was Amblin. Didn't you change it to DreamWorks, or was it always? I know it was Amblin during ET, or am I confusing it with something else?
DreamWorks, because DreamWorks was separate.
Okay, you know better than me, so I was just curious. I was proud of myself that I remembered his actual studio, like his production company.
Maybe he's worked with DreamWorks. Maybe they merged, but Amblin Entertainment.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
Was has been his production company ever since before used cars.
Okay. Okay. No, then it was probably something like Steven Spielberg presents a blah, 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 something along those lines. I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have in my notes of bitching of this. This Steven
that Spielberg. And taxes. And more taxes. I
think I have the taxes. The next one, you had this audio drop before we went on air. I was like, I'm almost positive I have it. And yes, this is named just like the drop you have. So here's James, and he's having a bad time.
It was days before shooting when we got the word we can't use ET. I was devastated. I had already funded the film with the promise that the nerd would finally be reviewing E.T., my most requested game. We changed the look of the game and called it E.T. Bad news was piling on. As tax season closed, I was told I needed to pay a higher than expected amount of taxes out of my personal savings because of the higher tax bracket caused by my totally separate account for the movie funds. I collapsed onto the sidewalk in front of Kevin's house, and I said, "This movie is ruining my life."
There it is. That's it.
The what he said before, right before that, of him collapsing on the sidewalk and then, just casually saying, "This movie is ruining my life." Did you say it, James, or did you collapse in something of like a tantrum, meltdown, breakdown, crying, screaming, "This movie is ruining my life"?
That's exactly how I imagine it. Yeah.
With the information you've given us, that's almost certainly what happened. And it's your own fault. As much as I would like to blame your other two producers, you got yourself into this mess. You've made 307 or 383 movies up to this point. And, man. I need a clipper for you to take over. I didn't get this opportunity. I was so close to getting this opportunity to succeed or fail on my merits, and this cocksucker just pissed away this fucking opportunity.
I think that's what frustrates a lot of some of the truthers. It's like, dude, we tried to help you. We want to see you succeed, and then after this initial failure on his first actual film, he's just like, fuck it, I give up. When I know his fan base would help him create something else, no matter what. There's people that, all of us, there's nobody in this sphere that hates James. I mean, you get frustrated with him, you want to slap him around a little bit, but it's not like, in my case, it's not like with Aaron, where I would literally punch that guy if I saw him in person. I'll take the charge. I don't care. I don't like him. James, I like,
but face. It will be worth. I imagine you're just overnight and you need to make a court appearance. You just got to make the biggest downside of that is you need to come back to St. Cloud, Minnesota, if you were to punch him in the face.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, James, like getting physically ill from this stress. It's like, dude, why are you putting yourself through that? You shouldn't do that. That's
because he didn't think it would be this hard.
Avenue.
He didn't think it would be this stressful, and it's like you have no grasp of movie making if you thought this was just going to be the amount of easy that he thought it was going to be. Maybe he thought it was going to be like a medium difficulty. Well, hopefully he presses continue on life after this. We can only hope. I never pulled that audio, pressing continue on life. It's at the end of one of the chapters. I need to pull that audio of him pressing continue on life. But I do believe we have the exact moment when James said, when James decided, I'm done. I'm making no more decisions in my life. And here it is.
My wife's dream was always to have children, but she had to postpone her dreams because of mine.
Last but not least,
AVGN.
the dog, me.
My wife's dream was always to have children, but she had to postpone her dreams because of mine.
Oh, I didn't pull the whole clip. Oh, I did. The G5, I have a part 2 of this. That is another thing that people who have been following James have heard over and over again. My wife had to put her dreams on hold. It's like he's reading it from the script. Just like the way that he was reading from the script that Kevin Finn gave him. It does not rain in Hollywood. It will be better for shooting. My wife had to put her dreams on hold while she helped me finish mine. Yeah. Here's the second part of that.
So, for the first time, standing right there, gazing at the Ferris wheel,
he's doing the Ferris wheel he's looking at. He's doing some location scouting. This whole scene at the amusement park boils my blood. It is a wildly unnecessary dream sequence that only accomplishes that James sees his audience as mindless zombies. And James didn't even realize he was calling his audience mindless zombies with this amusement park scene. But since you haven't seen it yet, you can't comment on exactly how fucking useless this scene was and a complete waste of time and money to even go out and scout. This was a waste of time and fucking money. But apparently this was where James broke down and cried and took his pants off and presented them on a silver platter to Beeprel. You wear these. I don't want to wear them. You make good decisions. My decisions got me here. No more decisions. Take the pants. Put them on. Put them on.
Yeah, I wrote it as James and the half a bundle of sticks wheel because I used the actual word. But yeah, that's basically what was happening here. He's just like, I'm done being a man. I can't handle the life anymore. And just hands the reins over to his wife. All right, you have kids and you're going to take care of me and the kids. That's it. I'll crank out AVGN every month, twice a month. And that's it, quote him. He cranks them out. He wants to make the process as smooth as possible, streamline it. A, B, C, D, E, AVGN on the way. A, B, C, D, E, AVGN on the way. And then he just hangs out with his buddy and trying to recreate James and Mike Mondays with John. And it
just, I guess it's still got an audience because you got to take a hell of a tumble to have no audience from the amount of subscribers that he has. You'd have to go out of the Opie Hughes playbook to have no viewers whatsoever with those type of subscribers. And thanks, Blastoix. The James Rolfe pull string talkie doll definitely needs that as well. We want the movie done. She wants the movie done. We all want the movie done. So I have 20 seconds of him talking about handing over the pants.
Okay. So for the first time, standing right there, gazing at the Ferris wheel with colored lights going blurry through my tears, I thought to myself, I can be a father. I actually wanted kids. And then I can take them to amusement parks like this. But first, I'd get this feature film done. And that was my motivation.
Okay.
His motivation is that he can give up control of his life once this film is over. He doesn't want to be in control of his life or this film anymore. But my motivation is finish it, and then Beeprel will be in control of my life. Whew.
Yeah, this chapter really does, or the second half of this chapter really does show the turning point. The turn. He went from being a like you said, a happy-go-lucky filmmaking guy into realizing he bit off more than he could chew, and it's just well too big to swallow.
If he would have treated this as like an apprentice opportunity to become a real filmmaker, as some of our beloved chatters pointed out earlier, that him along with a director, an actual real director that he could study from and figure out what to do. But he had it in his mind. I've been doing this. I know what I'm doing, and I agree with Brush of Chaos. As I mentioned, The Deader the Better is the only pre-film film I've watched of James's, and it looked good. It had a good concept. I just thought he didn't do anything with the concept, but it does look good. It's shot well. I thought he could have used a writer to do something with the concept. But yeah, The Deader the Better is a much better movie than this movie. What it tried to accomplish, it did. The Deader the Better.
That's what's really strange. A lot of people find some of the things, and like especially the concepts, like he might not have got it on film as good as it could have been, but he had really good ideas for a lot of things. That was one. Deader the Better was one, and somebody mentioned the blue hole that he did earlier. Was another one that was kind of, it was shot well, like it was done well, not great, not terrible, but you can see there were some type of chops there that he really did want to be a filmmaker. It's just that, and not to bring up somebody that nobody knows, but like Tiff with 3 F's has a nephew that plays for Gonzola. I said it wrong, but Thank you. He's in the Final Four, and there's a difference between high school basketball, college ball, and pro athlete. And James went from being like a high school varsity player straight to pro athlete without having any type of idea of the jump in talent. And that's it.
That is a good analogy.
He can't hold that.
He needed that intermediary playing in college. And I guess when he was in college, he was like, no, I am playing college ball. I am playing college film. But yeah, you're right. He was on a certain level and needed to step his way to the next level. And he jumped his way to several layers above. We like who you
the
used to be,
epitome of
James. It's just this new James that is so goofable. We can't not do it.
There is like somebody who asked a silly theory about Bulls or being drugged by April. I don't think he's being drugged by April or has a cuck problem. I think he did go seek therapy and they put him on SSRIs, which with already his quote low-key personality probably made him, just above lukewarm milk as a personality. He doesn't get as angry with the angry video game. Like, he can't even muster up the energy to go, shit full of fucking shit. Like, he doesn't really, it just feels so forced,
That's the James we got on the Cinemassacre podcast. The James that has all those, what drugs did you theorize? But that makes sense. Where off the cuff James was never good. But then you get him to a warm glass of milk, James, with a few mood stabilizers, and you get Cinemassacre podcast, James.
Yeah, exactly. He just says yep. But very much one monosyllabic responses and just kind of tuned out a little bit. I don't really know how to put it.
All right, we are at the end of Chapter 5G. I did pull through Chapter 5H. Should we go ahead and get to the end of that? Yeah, I don't think we'll be way over limit with Chapter 5H. Anything more on G before we put it in H?
No, I got nothing left in G, other than the F Ferris wheel.
The half a bundle of sticks Ferris wheel, the pants Ferris wheel.
And Sam in the chat made a point about the dissonance between what fans expected James to be outside of Angry Video Game Nerd versus how most of us found out that it was Mike Matei who wrote that dialogue, who was really
he was James's
putting it into the
partner.
box, right?
And Kevin Finn is such a wretched writing partner.
Well, and like you said, Finn's experience comes from reality television, so there's no scripting or dialogue there.
I respect him not at all. I respect a sex working prostitute more than I respect a reality television producer. They're pimps and whores to a more disgusting degree than sex working prostitutes.
You don't like Paradise Island? All right.
Some of them can get me. They can get me, but I would still hate myself for enjoying them.
There was one reality show that I know I'm sidetracking you, but one reality show I caught that I hadn't watched before. It's called Alone or something, and they basically stick you out in the middle of the tundra for 90 days, and that's the competition. Who can survive out in the middle of nowhere? No, thank you.
Yeah, gonna pass.
Chapter 5H. Filming begins.
Finally.
About damn time that we get this filming beginning. So
280 pages in, here we are. Finally filming.
They filmed for 28 days in Los Angeles until the money was gone. Let's see, I did try to do the math of James and April's shithole apartment, not $9,000, I believe. I must have missed 2 months of when they were out there, but on to the filming of the movie.
I was surrounded by nearly 50 people. Our first shot was pulling a game cartridge out a window by a string. Sean commented how funny it was that I could have done that same shot all by myself at home, but I was impressed by the size of the crew.
Nobody thought until right now, at that point, hey, James could film a portion of this movie at home and save us from paying 50 salaries every single day, which, by the way, is it's a pretty light crew. Many crews are like
50,
75, 100 people, even up to 300. So James is doing the best to get to stretch this money and not have 100 people, rather 50 people there. That got me angry again as I was listening to it. Sean thought it was funny. Why wasn't Sean ripping his hair out and screaming as a producer of like, why didn't we think of this earlier? Fuck. There's a lot of shots James could have done all by himself. There's a lot of stuff with just the nerd that until this very moment, when it's far too late, they're like, oh, you didn't need any of us to do this.
Yeah, I understand. But at the same time, I watched James try to film a scene where he had an onion in his mouth and was tied to a chair that he tried to shoot by himself. And, yeah, no, he needs people around him to help him. There's no doubt about that.
We say by himself, but he's got Mike there. Mike, who's currently running. That's another thing. I really would have liked James to get into Mike running the channel at this point. He doesn't have an involvement in the movie beyond being on set for a day to film a cameo with Guitar Guy. I wanted to hear the behind the scenes. Actually, we all want to hear the behind the scenes on the Inspector Gadget video. and just another sign that James alone and Mike alone are nowhere near as creatively good. I could have come up with a better word, but together, fantastic. Alone.
Right. No, I agree because the solo Mike stuff was like too sharp for the audience. Like he was just going well overboard because he had full reign. And everybody responded like, whoa, dude, you're a little too vulgar, a little too much with that. And James, I'm sure, helped round that out. And well, I'm not going to say this, but we can put it that way. And it still had its more gooder. Exactly. He had a more gooder synergy with Mike than either one separate because James is too bland on his own.
I don't know why I couldn't think of that great word. Thank you, Nimrob. More gooder together, James and Mike.
Exactly.
I felt like I was...
your doggy still wants your attention.
I think she wants to go out, but I took her out literally an hour and a half ago.
It's a nice day. I can understand why she's like, buddy, come on, it's nice.
No, you're right, because when we were out there, she's like, oh, it's like 45, 50 degrees. I can handle this. And
the entire country is about to get rained on for a couple days. Let's go again.
Yeah. I apologize for all the clickety clacks.
Was finally making a real movie. But it didn't take long for things to get stressful. The main issue was time. I just don't have the time.
So that's about as close as we're going to get to James admitting he's not a real filmmaker.
That's it. Yeah, he finally I'm actually filmmaking. He looked at everybody. He saw people pushing cameras on the jib. He, there's a craft services table. I was like, oh, cool. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. And then complains about how the union makes everybody take an hour-long lunch.
Yeah, he gets real into the logistics of shooting a 12-hour day. Anymore is too much overtime for us to pay. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and how fucked that they were if they didn't get all the shots of that day, because they're filming at a different location and a different location and a different location.
Poor planning and constant setbacks for the old Bimster throughout this little section of the chapter.
So he's kind of figured out during this filming, even before filming began, at the amusement park, it seems like James has figured out that this is not for him.
It moved much slower than any of my previous films. For me, it confirmed my belief that smaller is better.
I feel like that's what Beep Rules Journal says. The smaller, the better. That's what she tells James. It's okay. It hurts when you're too big. So what? You can't reach that spot. That makes me go, ugh. It hurts if you get there. I don't need to go through any pain to get to pleasure. I had to get in. You got a small dick joke because you put that in there. that smaller is better. Smaller works for what you were doing before. Smaller doesn't work for a $250 million movie that you're shooting on 0.1% of a budget.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's trying to do this huge, big budget thing, and then trying to do that finally confirms his belief to keep it small. Like, how did he even get to this point with that type of logic? If he was going to do a big budget film, that would be antithesis to what he just confirmed for himself.
What he's used to, little small productions. If he would have come at it from the angle of, I'm making an independent movie on a small budget, he could have done it. He could have fucking done it with a crew of even less, of like a dozen people. I think when I was getting together the pilot that never was, it was around a dozen people once I got it down to the absolute positive fucking minimum. And I think a crew of 12 to 20 people, if they would have written a smaller movie, could have got it done, and he might have been able to what's the word I'm looking for? He might have been able to do it.
Yeah, he would have definitely reached the finish line a lot quicker and with better results had he stayed in the confines of what he had already known. This type of movie was later on. This is, how many movies did Kevin Smith make? I know I'm going back to that well again, but before he made a bigger budget film.
Was Dogma the first bigger budget?
I think
you had Clerks, Chasing Amy,
Mallrats was the... Yes, Chasing Amy, I think, was first, and then... No, Clerks was first, then Chasing Amy, and then Mallrats. I think in that order. I'm not 100%.
But yeah, Clerks is a fantastic one to look at, of like, all right, the dialogue was so fucking strong that it was okay that it was a black and white movie shot for $30,000. Okay. You need something to be strong, and holy shit, is the dialogue... not the strong point of this movie. There is no strong point. There is no load-bearing part of this movie. That's why it collapsed on itself.
Yeah,
and Chasing Amy.
Thank you.
Mark. Damn it! I need to fix my monitor. Thank you, Mark the Rat Guy, for that order.
Mike?
And yeah, all very simple movies. Even when when Kevin Smith got the budget, Mallrats and Chasing Amy are bigger, but still relatively small-ass movies.
And I think the budget went to basically his friends at the time. Ben Affleck and all his other Jersey Boy friends, they lend their talent to Chasing
Shannon Doherty,
Amy.
She was a big name
Shannon
at the time.
Doherty, thank you.
A lot of the money probably went to Shannon Doherty because she was a big name at the time. And Kevin Smith has since apologized to Shannon Doherty because Mallrats was a bomb. And
I loved it. It was good.
She wasn't even the leading lady, was she? She was like one of the supporting.
She was a girl. Yeah, she was a girlfriend to Jason Lee, I think.
But that will sink a career if you're in a bomb your first time out. Norm Macdonald was lucky enough to get a second attempt, then that bomb too, and no third attempt for Norm. Yeah, that's what I thought. Supporting actress.
The one scene I remember with Shannon Doherty is, I can't remember his name, but he's
Brenda?
in My Name Is Earl. No, yeah. That's exactly the scene. She's like, "Fuck you," kind of like just.
Ethan Suplee.
And he goes, "Thank you."
Ethan Suplee says Brenda.
He was one of my favorite characters. He's like trying to see the magic eye, and he's like, "I got a snack and a soda. I'm going to see that fucking boat today." And then the kid goes, "It's a schooner." Or no, and he's like, "It's a schooner is a sailboat." And like they start an argument with this. I don't know, man. I haven't seen it in so long.
You know what?
But it was such a good...
That isn't Santa Claus. It's just a guy in a suit.
So many good scenes. And Kevin Smith's trying to do Jedi mind trick on the cigarette the whole time. I don't know. For a bomb, it was pretty good.
We're not talking about a good movie for this hour. We're talking about James gets into some of his failures. Here's one of my favorites.
The portable bathrooms would routine.
Oh, actually, in the book, this was set up technical failures, communication failures. It was like 3 or 4 different headlines of failures in different departments, and that thumbs up to that one. I got a good laugh off of. I can't just put this under failures. I need to separate this into different aspects of failures. But this one,
such big blunder, yeah.
This one was my favorite of all.
The portable bathrooms would routinely get delivered late or couldn't get them unlocked. So at each location, you were always trying to find a new place to piss and shit.
That's the most vulgar he gets in his book, too.
I've never experienced that. There have always been working toilets in every production I've been to. The worst it got, the worst it ever was on Call of the Wild. One of the production assistants forgot to turn on the generator to the porta potties. So the honey wagons, as they call them. That's what they call the shitters on the trailers. Nice. They call them the honey wagons. And some production assistant forgot to turn on the generator. And after I took a big old steamy shit, there was no flushing it. So did have somewhere to put it, at least. But that was the closest I got to just having to find a can or a bucket.
And dude, he's a guy. Like, having to piss, you can just kind of, if you could turn to a tree, really, or just try to stay out of line of sight, you can get away with, number ones. That's for sure.
So the special effects were a shit show that Bimmy shouldn't have been proud of. And he was just very proud of... He talks about the alien puppet. The alien puppet looks like fucking garbage. It
keeps running out of battery.
I don't even like saying his character names are so stupid. Fucking Dark Onward. I've got to say his name to reference it, but
no, I refuse. Whatever that fucking name is, I don't want to say it. You can just say the bad guy. Don't even. We know who you're talking about. That is something I don't know why it bothers me as much as it does. But he says
because he should be like a general or an admiral or something. His title is Dark. And it's like there's all sorts of dumb wordplay in this movie that I just groan at rather than giggle at, and it feels like Onward. Like, I don't think they ever said his first name in the movie. Yes, you've got the same idea I did with the kaiju. I won't say the kaiju name. I feel like an asshole when I say that the should have been Admiral's name.
Ugh. Yeah, no, it's like he's a child and he just like made it up on the spot, and it's like, we're not going to change that. It's so strange to me. Oh.
And one more clip. We're a little over 90 minutes, which is where I like to keep these, because
too much.
Really, how much can we talk about a topic that annoys you?
Well, it's still fun.
So since James isn't a real filmmaker, he didn't know that an experienced first assistant director should be communicating with all the different departments. He talks about redirecting here.
Communication failures. With a large crew, it can sometimes be hard to get the same message across for everyone to hear all at once. A large part of directing is redirecting, spreading the word.
So no, that's actually not the director's job. I've been on set many a times. The background actors often think that the first assistant director is the director because they're the ones going out and telling everyone what to do. The director says once what he wants done, and then it's the first AD's job to get on the walkie-talkie. I've seen it done many times, and tell each and every department what they need to do. The director was standing right there next to the first AD, so he could correct her if he needed to, but no, this redirecting is fucking bullshit. You've got everything wrong. Did you even have a first assistant director? It was just James and Kevin as co-directors. One of you could have done the job of the first assistant director. And, well, it's chaos. It's chaos in my mind as I'm starting to imagine the order there and what it was like filming.
Yeah, I think the problems with this started from the top down. All the way. And Alexandria is mentioning it again. James needed Mike with this. And I don't know, personally, if I was Mike, I'd kind of feel slighted that I'm not there being the right hand.
So
like
James
you just said,
Kevin,
at least a assistant director, like you said, at least telling other people what the fuck to do, because James got his head up his ass and Kevin Finn doesn't know what he's doing.
So James and Kevin would like go off on Brokeback Mountain type of excursions a week at a time ever since 2008 and have this little boys club meeting of writing this movie. So it's been a while that Mike, you do that. We're over here making our movie, and it doesn't sound like a terrible idea on the face of it that I'm going to focus on the movie. You focus on the channel. But for Mike to have no presence in the movie, Mike the Rat Guy,
or even on set. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Just one day he was on set as an extra, and I do have to agree with Mike. As an extra, he was vibing out to music so unconvincingly. He didn't belong in this movie either. Seeing the seconds that Mike Matei was on screen, Mike knew his limitations, and Mike was like, I really shouldn't be. So if I could choose one aspect of the AVGN movie to change on screen or behind the scenes, which one? It's the script. That's if we start off with a script that can be filmed for $250,000. That's where I start. I can't. That's what I want to do in my hindsight rewrite. Definitely want to do that once we're done this series of. A hindsight rewrite. What if I was a producer with James? I can't get rid of everything, but here's me trying to work within the parameters of what this fool gave me. And it's, definitely 100%. If they might have sold this to a studio, if they would have had a coherent script, if they would have had a pitch that wasn't just, I'm famous on the internet. Take this incoherent mess and make it with us. If they would have treated it as a business plan, as I do many of my stacks of scripts. One of my pilots, every single character has something for the audience to buy. We've got an artist. We've got his love interest who's in the fashion industry. We're going to get the little kid, not in the first season, but we need to hire an actress who is a singer so we can start selling albums by season 2 or 3. There's especially when you're unknown. That was something with my sketch comedy as well, of doing a tour. I talked to someone. It was slightly different, my approach to the tour than others. I was like, oh, good. That's great. This hasn't been done before. We can fall on our face or succeed, given the fact that this is done just a little bit different than how it's always been done.
And I think the movie changed the way the nerd was too much. Like you said, a little tweak here and there, you could make more errors and have it be more forgivable. Going from the nerd basement to a full-on budget film, like, big budget film with special effects and everything, that was more than what he was doing. Like, the special effects in any AVGN, yeah, they were hard to do, but they weren't high-end. They were usually poop jokes.
Neither is the special effects in the movie.
And he mentions that in this last little subsection that we're going through. He says it kind of passé too, like, oh, it's a joke. We'll fix it in post. It's like, dude, that's not supposed to be a running joke on your film. It's not. Fix it in post is bad.
I was trying to find the sound drop from Home Movies. There's one where one of the friends, it's the girl in Home Movies, where Brendan's like, we'll fix it in post. You always say that. You never fix anything in post, Brendan. Actually, Jen said in this chapter, that we'll fix it in post kind of became a motto. And I couldn't find that episode of Home Movies. I wanted to add that as well. You never fix anything in post because it's just you gave future James, you gave post-production James such a pile of fucking shit. God damn.
Yeah. He didn't have enough people backing him technically to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, he might have had a studio backing if that script. So yeah, good.
Yeah, it's the
good
script
question.
that would have been.
Mike the Rat Guy, and it's the script. I can't. You give me a pile of shit. I'm gonna do my best to polish it, but I'm gonna have a hard time. If I can make my own turd, I don't even know how to.
At least roll it in glitter and make it sparkly. It doesn't have to smell like shit. Spray it with some perfume. Do what you can. Like I said, excuse me, the smoke and mirrors here, he's not doing it as well as he can at home. I mean, it's not editing on 2 VCRs difficult, but he, like you said, kaiju, zombies, aliens, any other cornball thing you can throw in there. He was trying to get it in the one movie. It's like, dude, don't do that. Don't.
You're right. You have to be the master of 2 VCRs in order to edit that way. You only need to be good at computer editing to get it done.
At one point he says, we do the special effects in the computer. Like he says in the computer instead of on the computer. And immediately my brain goes to Zoolander, where Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller are like banging on the computer, like trying to get the special effects out. Yeah. Where's these special effects? You know, like they're in the computer.
Well, we are wrapping up for today's episode. That was 5H. And for those joining us for the first time, I think you can see why this is almost double the amount of episodes than what I intended it to be. We might make it to 12. There is James in the Last Chapter might be just the biggest belly laugh we've seen yet. But we've still got more movie to go through. It's my goodness, James.
And the band.
I can't believe he didn't realize what he was doing with this book. The first one to say it in the chat was our buddy Principled Uncertainty. He made his own character assassination and didn't even realize it. That is like the best way I can put it. There is so much that you can read between the lines in this book that James didn't intend for there to be, and you killed your character. Him doing these defenses, yeah. How did he think that was going to win us back?
I don't know. That's it. But not only that, everybody around him let it happen. Like they just let things happen to James, so that way I'm guessing most people know that you can't tell him. He has to see it or experience it in order for it to be reality to him. Because nobody stopped him from going to California. Nobody stopped him and told him to help rewrite the script. Not even Mike was like, looked at the script and
actually, that's another point I missed. April booking their hotel, booking their apartment in the shittiest part of Hollywood. Why did Keegan and Sean Keegan and fucking Kevin Finn not say, oh no, you don't want to have an apartment there. No. They allowed them to live right outside of where bums shit. And James probably had his breakdown right next to a pile of fecal matter that may or may not have been from a dog.
Right. No, exactly. See, I think Cupcake mentioned earlier, Tommy Wiseau, I think the making of the Angry Video Game Nerd movie would be a better movie.
He's got a shitload of behind-the-scenes stuff out there. I've seen some of it. He's got a shitload out there. And,
that's his thing.
He's, and we'll get to more of it. Not next week, 2 weeks. I was about to say next week. Yeah,
we'll pick it back up.
We're doing this every 2 weeks. Thanks to you new folks for checking it out. This is a limited edition podcast. We did talk about doing some other reviewing Cinemassacre podcasts. Leave a comment if you would like to see more. Otherwise, this is a limited edition podcast of James's book review, and I definitely want to do some stuff. The hindsight rewrite, as I mentioned, try a little exercise. How could I help? I'd like to do a hindsight rewrite on both this and Stuttering John's One Too Many, and any more terrible movies I'd also like to get to. We're done for now, and I've got a job interview tomorrow, so I will not be back for a Thursday show, but we'll be back next week, Wednesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Dylan from Somewhere YouTube channel is where you can catch us doing some shenanigans. And Spurg Snake has his own channel, Spurg Snake's Secret Stash, or it's just Spurg Snake now, correct?
Yeah, I shortened it. It makes it easier to find. Just type in Spurg Snake or at Spurg Snake after the / on YouTube. You should be able to find me. It's the same on Twitter, at Spurg Snake, all one word. Scott, thank you for flicking the like bean. And the last, dude, yeah, I agree. I do like the Cinemassacre Truth subreddit. There's a lot of fun going on over there, and last time we did this show, there was a guy in the chat named Brown Electrons. And what I didn't know is that he has a YouTube channel where he does cover some of this stuff. And about a week ago, he posted a video because there's a lot of new people coming in. And they're like, why do you guys hate James so much? And it's like, we don't hate him that much. We don't. It's just, he's one of those guys that falls up the ladder instead of down. It's just fascinating to watch.
He's straddling the line of lolcow. We mentioned it last time. He's got lolcow habits, but like he's more capable than your typical lolcow.
And he's smart enough to not answer the internet. I know I'm doing the same thing Aaron does in classifying all of us as internet people. He doesn't engage. He doesn't go on Twitter. He doesn't, he's not an Instagram guy. Whereas some of our favorite lolcows, you say something to them and they cannot not answer you. They have to interact with every comment. And James is like, I got my bubble, leave me alone. And that is saving him from a lot of harassment, which in my opinion would be undeserved. He's just James. He's not John. He's definitely not Stuttering John. He's definitely not Aaron M. Holt. He's definitely not DSP.
Darkside Phil.
Right.
Yeah, there's not like ill will in his heart. Like in his heart, he is a good person, but he's just so goofable, and he doesn't. Just so many wrong. This movie, it just fascinated me to no end of how it got done, and yeah, we don't hate you, James, but we do like to give you wedgies and swirlies.
Yeah, I agree. If I had to equivalent, you know what I'm saying. If I had to equate him to somebody in our little corner of the Dabble Hackverse, he's more like Ray DeVito. He's just kind of like a nice guy who's unintentionally malicious sometimes. Like he does a thing and it just doesn't work out for other people around him.
In that arena, in that arena, but actually someone more capable than him.
That's
someone
true.
who he's more capable than. Ray DeVito, less capable than James Rolfe. Any of you folks who have never heard of him, he's someone you can't help but goof on. And anything else before we wrap up for the second or third time?
No, I'm sorry. We can wrap it up. I gotta use the restroom. So
all right, and I don't think you mentioned that Mondays is your day to stream. You're doing.
Oh yes. Thank you. I'm terrible at
self-promoting.
self-promoting.
The plugs. Final plug and final wrapping up. Monday's video game stream over on Spurg Snake's channel with some music pop-ups where he's testing the YouTube, trying to play DJ. Sometimes they let it happen. Sometimes they take him down.
The last couple times they weren't. They were not happy, YouTube.
And yeah, that was our show for the day. We had a bit of happy talk there at the end. And now we're going to go and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Just like your doggy is saying, fucking let's go. Thank you all for joining. Feel free to go away.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye for now.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day.
Places all join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LS, MFT. Alimentary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right and left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girl. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LS, MFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.